Will it be ending? With me right now, attorney Alex Little. Alex,
Trish,
can Jeff Sessions just say, okay, this is over, we haven't found anything yet? Or can he put some pressure, perhaps on Bob Mueller, to say, look, you've been working on this for a while, buddy, let's see what you got?
No, and I think that's the president's frustration, is that when the attorney general accused himself from the probe many months ago, he's not supposed to have any involvement. And so that involvement is being done through the deputy attorney general, Rod Rosenstein, who is the one that's actually looking over the special counsel's shoulder and approving his decisions. And so right now, Sessions is not in a position to do that.
You know, I have a question for you. I was looking at Rod Rosenstein's mandate there for Mueller earlier today, refreshing my memory of it. And it says he's supposed to look into, Bob Mueller, that is, whether or not Russia interfered in the election. But then it goes on to highlight, and it specifically cites whether or not anyone in the Trump campaign colluded with Russia. But then says nothing about Hillary Clinton. And I ask this question because it seems to me, in all fairness, Alex, if you were going to look into this, wouldn't you want to look into the entire election process? I mean, do not forget that it was Hillary Clinton's camp that sent a spy over to Russia, to foreign soil, to dig up dirt, which they paid for, and the Russians provided. So it just seems, in all fairness, if you're looking at the Trump campaign, you'd want to be looking at the other side too, if you really want to know what Russia was up to. Why don't they?
Trish, in all fairness, I think what you've seen the special counsel do is follow the facts where they lead. And right now you already have publicly in indictments evidence that the Russian intelligence services tried to infiltrate the Democratic campaign to release emails to help the Trump campaign. Now, that's something that they've seen, that FBI agents have corroborated. They've brought it to a grand jury. There's been an indictment. So I don't think you can criticize that piece of this investigation.
Alex, I just wonder why they're not looking into the Hillary side of things. I mean, for goodness sakes, if you're going to talk about collusion, and the left certainly believes that somehow that Russian attorney meeting at Trump Tower with Junior equates to collusion, then why wouldn't it be? And by the way, they weren't paying for anything in that meeting. That meeting happened out in the open for everyone to see. There were security cameras, there were security guards, there were plenty of people around, there was an email trail. If I'm Vladimir Putin, I kind of like the idea of planting some breadcrumbs along the way that the media and the left will then go out to find. Yet the dossier is not being looked at?
Look, that's a great speech, but I trust the investigative process more than I do our ability as outsiders to sort of connect these dots. What we know is there have been a number, more than 24 indictments here.
Bias by so many involved in the investigative process? I mean, again, Alex, just in all fairness,
I've been a federal prosecutor for a number of years.
Would you not
I've worked with agents on both sides.
How that dossier was assembled?
Oh, I think the better question is, does the dossier have information which is true or correct? When I was a federal prosecutor and people brought evidence to me, I cared much less about who brought it to me as whether it was true or false. And the question is it true or is it false?
Alex, I can tell you as a journalist, I care very much about the authenticity of the information that comes to me. And it's the first darn question I would be asking if I were there, part of the FBI or Mueller's team. Why would you trust? How would that actually get you a FISA warrant, a bunch of garbage or hearsay that the Russians are providing for opposition research?
Well, I've actually worked on FISA warrants, and as you saw from the one that was released here, it's incredibly long, incredibly detailed, and there were independent, impartial judges who were appointed by the Senate who looked over those FISA warrants and found that Carter Page, a member of the president's campaign, was an agent of a foreign power. At least there was probable cause to believe that. And so that's what that part of the investigation looked at and went forward. I think the question you have, though, is shouldn't an investigation be impartial and shouldn't it look at the entire scope of wrongdoing? And I think it's absolutely important. But it doesn't mean that when there is wrongdoing found, we should ignore it. And that's what I think the special counsel is doing.
Do you think it was wrong? Does that meeting with the Russian lawyer prove something to you?
Look, I know that Donald Trump Jr. has lied about it. There was press reporting this week that President Trump knew about it and has lied about it. So my question always is, both as an investigator—
President Trump hasn't lied about it under oath, by the way.
Okay, so I get concerned more about people lying in general. The President of the United States shouldn't be lying to the American public, shouldn't be lying to anybody. And as a defense counsel or as a prosecutor, I tell folks not to lie. It's generally a better practice.
And this is what I'm worried about for our country right now. Vladimir Putin's a pretty smart guy. He operated in the KGB. He knows how to plan things right now, and he knows how to use the openness of our society, the trust in our democracy against us. And
he knows how to use state media.
We have fallen for it. The media has fallen for it. The left has fallen for it. And if we want fairness here, investigate it all. I want to know everything that happened. Thank you so much, Alex. Good to see you.
Thank you.